but my right ear was practically inactive. It was on pilot mode. I was autopilot mode. I was not hearing anything. Like, before we get into the story, I want you to like. It's going to be a good story, I promise. Be ready to comment after the story and subscribe. Subscribe. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, I know some of you didn't expect to see me so soon, but yeah, we are making adjustments and improvement. So I don't know, but to me, whenever I see red cup, it's an indication that we're about to have fun or spill some juice or let loose, and that is what this is going to be about. So the title should already give me out. It's going to be a story time over a serious issue, because we're not about to let loose over losing my earring, but I'm going to be telling you guys a story about how I almost lost my ability to hear. Do I remember this vividly now? I do, because it was one of those experiences that I didn't think would ever happen to me in my adult years, and it did. So it was life-changing. Till date, I still feel the impact of what happened. Like, well, it's now 2 years. So yeah. So get comfortable and let's get talking. So this video is as entertaining as it is educative. Stories is entertaining as it is educative, because if I was educated properly, probably half the damage that was done to my ear would not have happened. So let's get talking. I think this was in 2021. Yes, because I was in 300 level then. I was in my 3rd year, and I think I had just concluded my 2nd semester exam. No, my 1st semester exams. And the only distinct thing I could still say to date that I did after that exam is I went for a swim for the first time in my life. Before then, I have never gone to the pool. I don't know how to swim. Even till date, I tried going for swimming lessons or tried learning, but this happened or that happened. So yeah, so I think I went for a swim, and at first I thought I was waterlogged, or I was in the water for too long, or it was excessive chlorine. I just gave so many rational and logical reasons to why I had this feeling that I had. Then also, I'm someone who baits my ear. I know not everybody does, but I do. So I just assumed, oh, maybe I still have water from my bath in my ears. And for the first 1 week, it just felt like I could not hear because I had water in my ear. So I just did what I would usually do, which is hold my nose and shake my ears till the water comes out, or just leave it. Sometimes it will just come out in the middle of the day unexpectedly, and it will be hot. But this one didn't come out. So I think after like day 6 or 1 week into it, I told my mom. She was like, this kind of thing, you go to the chemist now, pharmacy, and tell them that, oh, maybe they'll give you eardrop or something. So I did, and it relieved the feeling. I could not, my mind was just not there that the water didn't come out again. I just totally forgot. The next semester started, and I started to find out that for some reason I didn't want to be around people because of my ears. Like, I felt highly irritated by the sound people made, by just conversing with people or having someone's phone vibrate too close to me. I was always offended, and then I could not chew. Like, my mouth was swollen. This happened to my right ear, by the way. My mouth was swollen, like I could not chew. And at first we were like, this was supposed to be something simple, something to just get over, something nobody should even think over twice, but now it has elongated. So it's God we have it. I told my mom I could not bear it anymore, because I was no longer eating. I could not sleep on this side of my face, and the pain was just getting to that level where I could not endure. I have a good tolerance to pain, but there are certain pains I just can't endure. It was getting there, because anything that involves teeth, my hands are off. Because I don't know, but if you've had toothache before, you know where I'm coming from. Ears feeling your teeth now join. No, I was over it. So I told my parents, and because I'm not close by, they told me to go to the hospital where I was. I'm trying not to call out hospitals and hospital names, so we'll just be using base and some locations I can mention. So when I went to the hospital, as I was asked to go to the hospital, first I stayed there for an unreasonable amount of time trying to get card, trying to book a consultation, and only for me to get to the hospital, to the doctor rather, and they told me that the doctor for ear was transferred, Abby was no longer in seat, or they just didn't have, I can't remember which of the excuses they gave me, but apparently the hospital didn't have an ear doctor, and I'd been there for at least maybe 3 to 4 hours. And remind you, I said I could not eat, so every time I went out, I did that without food in me. So I was like, what is this mess? So they were like, okay, fine, they were going to refer me to another hospital. The hospital they were referring me to was as far as an hour away from me. They were referring me to an hospital in Warri. I was already losing myself, because this pain, I don't know how to describe it. I'm someone who has actually gone through almost every body pain. I have broken bones, I have dislocated my bones, I've had teeth issue, I've had eye defect, I've had even nose problems, I've had ears now. So I know when I mean the pain was it was intense. Just that was how that pain was. So I was like, you know what, despite the distance and the fact that I was already losing time that day, I was still going to go. So I called my mom, I told her plans has changed, I'm going to Warri, I'm going to the hospital. Going to the hospital in Nigeria is like going to, I don't know, going to almost every other institution. There is a tendency that what you're going for would not be met. So explain to me why I get to this hospital and they tell me, oh, the ear doctor only comes in on Tuesday and on Tuesdays, and therefore I have to go home with my pain and come back the next day. I was crying. I didn't even know what to do. At this point I was already crying. I was very weak. I had to call the people I had in Warri, and I was like, I can't go back to Abraka and then come back here with this ear. I won't be able to even stand. It took everything in me to sit in the cab to Warri, because any slight vibration, I feel it in my core. I'm not joking, like I can feel my system vibrating. Not to talk of the cluster of actually getting a bus, stopping keke. It was a lot, a whole lot. So I was like, no, I'm not going back. So I got somewhere. I spent the night. The next day, I was taken back to the hospital. I got back to the hospital, and I had to join a ridiculous. I got to the hospital early. I'm talking about 6:30 early. The queue I met there, God, you would think they were giving tickets to heaven. Jesus Christ! And the most shameless thing about that queue is people were cutting line, and it was like, if you don't cut line, you're the one that is dull. Like, you're the one that is stupid. You're the one that is not in a haste to see the doctor and go about your day. Like, I could not smile, I could not cry, I could not laugh. I was just there. And I finally got my card, and I had to take another segment of waiting for the doctor. After waiting, guys, I finally saw the doctor. The checkup was so quick. I don't know what the instruments are like. If I can find pictures of them, I'll try to insert it. Or they just checked and all, and it was like, I think he asked me like 2 or 3 questions. If I had taken any antibiotic. I showed him what I had taken, and then he binned it. He just threw it in the bin, and then he wrote certain things and told me go to the pharmacy and get them. My mom had been like, she had been calling. I could not even take calls. Like, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted my ear to stop hurting, because at some point it felt like I had something in it, like maybe an insect was lodged in it. So I thought, seeing the doctor, they would just take it out and I would be able to breathe. But no, they just looked at it and then gave me prescriptions. So I went to the pharmacy. I bought those drugs. I believe those drugs were they're expensive. They were close to, if not 11 to 12,000. They were up to, because I had to go withdraw. I didn't have that amount of cash on me, so I had to go withdraw. It was close to 11 or 12,000, if not more. and I bought them. And I could not even wait to get a proper meal. I just bought Ribena and I think whether fish roll or something small or biscuit. And I ate and I took the medicine. While I was still in the cab, I just took it. And I went back to the house. Now, the drugs did reduce the pain, but the feeling did not stop. So, as at day 2, I had different kind of stuffs coming out of my ear. It was not funny. I think I deleted the pictures of these things recently because they are quite grotesque to look at. They are you would puke. I'm sorry, but you would puke. Even I myself could only show my mother, not any other person, because they were disgusting to look at. So they were like asking me questions. Where did you go? How do you suddenly have an ear infection? By the way, what the doctor told me I had was a bacteria ear infection. So in my mind, okay, I was just going through a bacteria ear infection and I would be over it. Day 1, pain reduced. Day 2, it was just the same. It was not like, let's just say if the pain was at 100%, the reduction was say 60, not even half, like say 60%. So it was now bearable. I could now smile to my friend. I could have people come into the house. I could eat like 2 times a day. I could like watch a movie. I was not going to school. I wasn't, because there is no way you sit in a class of almost 100 people. The amount of noise, I could not. I was not going to school. So I was just trying to get past, like manage my days. At day 4, I just had things coming out from my ear. The pain was still at the same level. So I told my mom that these things are still coming out, and I was even scared of the kind of things that were coming out, because some had blood on them, some were just balls, some were just things that I could not even explain. Some had wax. I was just really, really worried. So I think after I complained to my dad and he spoke to somebody, like I should just go look for a specialist hospital in Warri and just go there, because where I went wasn't a specialist, it was just a normal hospital. So I decided to call my friends and they helped me look for a specialist. I can't remember their name now, but if I can, I'll put it in the description area that you can find in case you're actually having some issues like that. So I went there. It was actually highly recommended. It came recommended, and the person was like, I think he was quite sure of their performance. So I just went there. I think after a week. By the way, the pain was still there. I went there. I first went to it was a specialist lab. I'm sorry, it was a specialist lab, not a specialist hospital. So I went to the lab, and then they got my details in, they asked questions, and they took me to the testing. Now, the reason why my parents were very much concerned is because I could not hear anymore. The pain had reduced, but my right ear was practically inactive. It was on pilot mode. I was autopilot mode. I was not hearing anything. Like, I was just trying to gather information with only my left ear. I could not hear shit with my right ear anymore. So that was the concern, and that was why I was looking for a specialist hospital or specialist lab, whichever one. So I found them, I got them, and they took me to the testing room after a while, and they tested my left ear, the sound one, and then they tested my right ear, the not so sound one. And my biggest fear, I was going to lose it if I had to wear hearing aid, because in my mind, I don't have right ear again. I don't have right ear again. That was in my mind. I was just like this. I have only one ear. But got so good. They were like, yes, to some extent. I had lost there is a percentage you're supposed to hear at. And for my left ear that was sound, I pick sounds from 10%, like 10%. I pick at it, but this was as far as 50 to 55%, which means the sound is almost gone, and that's why I don't hear with this one. And they were like, they don't think I would need hearing aid, but I needed to get it cleaned out and properly treated. So they printed my test results and then recommended or referred me to a hospital themselves. So I went to the hospital they referred me to straight, not somewhere else. They called the hospital before I got there, and when I got, it was a private hospital. I got there, I met the doctor. We went through another series of questioning, and then he called in us, and my ears were washed. In my full life, I have never felt such immediate release. Ah, God. Ah, it was better than I don't know what it is, but the release was immediate. I could open my mouth fully. You know when it feels like you want to eat and you open your mouth at say 40%, because if it goes beyond that, the pain you would feel would be your entire face. That was what I was enduring. See, when they were done, I opened my mouth fully, like I was about to swallow everybody. It was so easy. I did not need drugs after that wash, and then I found out that I was getting the wrong drugs for the wrong diagnosis. So I didn't have a bacterial infection, I had a fungal infection, and that is why the drugs they gave me from the first hospital wasn't working, because with fungi you're actually supposed to prevent liquid from going into your ear, but it gave me a lot of liquid products that I had to keep feasting and feeding my ear, so it just kept on breathing more rubbish in my ears. Yeah, oh God, I was just like, thank God we caught this on time. Thank God I didn't say I could manage it. Thank God I didn't just wait it out, because I was already asking questions. People that had maybe at one point or the other. I know one thing, once you have a physical, like once you go out and you don't look regular, like you're not wearing your earrings, you have things packed in your ears, everybody wants to ask you what is happening, because I had my ears stuffed. So people were like, I had different recommendations: wash your ear with lime, wash your ear with snail flu, wash. I had like every day I had a new recommendation. Every day I went out I had a new recommendation. But thankfully after they washed the ear out, I felt so much at ease. And that was the first time I laughed in a very long time. Like I was grinning from ear to ear for the first time, pun intended. Like I was grinning because I don't pray for my enemy to have ear pain or ear infection. It's not the funny thing at all. So the only thing is, I think it had done so much damage that I was still having hearing issues. So I had to come into the hospital like every month or every 2 months. I can't remember which it was, because I think the doctor was being considerate of the fact that I had to travel a distance to come to the hospital. So I think it was every 2 months for a while. And I was told to stop using things in my ears. I could not use the cotton buds in my ears. I had to reduce my voice at cotton bud because it's a guilty pleasure of mine. Like I enjoy doing that, but I was told to, and I had to stop. I had to stop using earpiece. Is it headphone? Yeah. They asked me to use the headset instead of the other one for a while, and then I think after a while I was asked to go back for my hearing test, like to get if both of them were now balanced. So yes, all of this drama took an average of 6 months. Yes, this took like 6 months before I could finally like act like someone who didn't have ear issue. I had a reoccurrence of this in 2022 again, and I had to have my ear washed out again, and this time it was even more annoying because it was during an exam period and it was not funny. Let me just say, the pain is not funny, it's not. There's no other way to put it. It's very uncomfortable, and if you're someone who likes to be comfortable in your skin, you won't find it funny. It was not funny at all. And I think after this time they packed my ears in with many things. They were in it for like, was it 3 days? After 3 days I had to bring it down. Let's just say this right ear has had its fair share of living in Delta State. It has, because it has been through a lot. When we all called in 2022, I was asked to avoid having liquid get into my ear, any form of liquid. So I bathe with my ears down, or I just bathe and forget my ears, and afterwards I just clean it, because water or any form of liquid was like a trigger for this ear. Also, I can't till now stand noisy places, which is like the aftermath after like 2 years. These are things I still feel. If a place is too noisy, I feel it in my core. If I get a sudden vibration, like something I don't expect, I feel it. I feel like a tingle, an uncomfortable tingle in the ear. So yes, these are things that I'm sure if they had caught it on time before the first diagnosis, it wouldn't have been this bad. It wouldn't have been. But we thank God for life. I didn't go back to that hospital. I have not gone back to it. I just killed the matter there. But yes, that was how I almost lost my earring, guys, and it has been one of those experiences I am now very, very conscious of amongst people. Like when somebody tells me, my ear is spinning me, I'm like, since when did this start? Like I'm quick to ask questions, because you don't want to have this experience. Believe me, it's not one of these things. It's not a proud moment. It's not something like, I'm proud to have gone through this. No, if I could take it back, I would. I miss how my ear used to feel regular and feel just fine without any sudden pain. So yes, we're good now. She's good. We're even contemplating some vices with it. But yes, that brings us to the end of this not so funny story time. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you had any of this kind of experience, maybe with your teeth, the toothache, your ears, your eyes. I know a ton of people just find there's a way these things just happen to you without reservation. You just see it just happens suddenly. So let me know how you've dealt with this kind of issues, if you have anybody that has experienced something like this, and if there is any other question you would want me to answer concerning this, you can also put it down in the comment section. So guys, until next time, if you also want to hear more story times from me, just let me know. I actually have a lot of stories. I don't know why I'm fidgeting, but I'm actually good at telling stories. At least it's one thing I know how to do well. So let me know if you want to hear more stories from me. I'll make a list. I will tell you many stories. My stories, not so my stories, people's stories, to be called gossiping, but still story. And until then, next, bye bye guys.